I try to find a depth where there's very minimal, if not none, but you can figure out what feels good for you. I'll give you guys some of the depths. On the face, you can start off at 0.25 to zero point 0.5. Again, certain sensitive areas on the face, like where the skin's a little bit thinner, like around the crown or the temple here, or between the eyes, or like right around the eyes. Sometimes that can be a little bit thinner. So you may want to go 0.25 to zero point 0.5, where you have more skin and padding and fat around the cheeks. You could even go up to 1 there. Like if you have acne scarring here, you could easily go up to 1, maybe even 1.5. I typically do not recommend going outside of 1 on the face unless you're working with a dermatologist or an esthetician, someone that really has a lot of experience. Again, I just have my own experience and what I've seen in the data in the literature. So work with people. If you want to see a professional, work with someone that has more experience. If you want to go outside what I consider to be just generally safe, 0.25 up to 1 on the face. Again, thinner areas, 0.25 to 0.5. You can, if you're going to push it, just start low 1 week and then every week maybe go up, 0.25. And that way you can test it and see how it goes. Okay. So minimally invasive, it's going to help with the pigmentation. It's going to help with, if you have melasma, high amounts of pigment, it can bring that down. With low pigment, it can definitely help bring it up because it's providing all these growth factors. It's providing stem cells, which is great. Now, how did microneedling even come on the scene? Well, there was a study from 30, 40 years ago of a gentleman who fell over. The back of his head hit a fireplace where there was fire. The gentleman was bald for many years. And after that scarring that he was in the hospital, it came out, the hair on his head started growing back. Like it was like 20 or 30 years the guy had been bald for, and his hair started growing back. And this is in the literature. And it's like, okay, well, something happened where that damage or that inflammation from that fall stimulated hair growth. So now the thinking was, well, how do we do that in a controlled way where we don't create permanent damage? It's not traumatic, but we can do it in a way that's controlled to get the benefits because there's some kind of benefit that happened there. And so how can we replicate that? And the data on this is very promising. And there's like very little side effect, especially if you do it right and you're smart about it. Biggest issues that you're going to have out of the gate is just using the official microneedling needles that come with the pen. You don't want to get cheap ones. I'll put links down below to the official ones that I use. Dr. Pen 8 is the one that I recommend. There'll be links down below. You're going to use a 16 needle pen is probably the best option. You can go higher. You can go 32. You can go less. It's like laying on a bed of nails. The wider the bed of nails, the harder it is to puncture. And so 16 tends to be that benefit. We don't have to push as hard. If you go 32, you're going to have to push more hard to get that in there. Now, it just depends. Certain areas of your face, it's sensitive. So you don't want to have to push that hard when you go around your mouth or around your eyes. That's sensitive. So I recommend less needles for that. Your scalp, you'll find is way less sensitive. So maybe going higher on the scalp, or if you're a female and you have a cesarean scar or stretch marks, you may want to go like a 32 on that because you can press harder. Those areas don't have as many nerve fibers there, so less sensitive, so you can push harder. My general recommendation is like pushing like you're pushing on like a tomato, but you don't want to break the skin. So just kind of like that type of consistency. Just an FYI.